So that was different.
Sorry about that. I had some audio errors there.
That was a different
Sorry about that,
Mason.
Yep, just adding a few more things to the episode here. And anyways, as I was saying, welcome back to Station 64.7 MCAST, bringing you the soothing sounds of loud motors in the AM, in the FM, and in the PM. I'm your co-host and professional houseboat salesman, Mason Paul. With me, I have our host and our also head honcho and former pro wrestler, Cameron Miguez. How are you doing today, Cam?
What the bloody hell is happening right now? All right. So for anybody watching right now, I promise you, I didn't know shit about any of this. This is all new. Wow. Mason, I'm impressed.
Well, last episode you asked me to step my game up, just bringing the podcast, like a new little intro coming in. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try something new here. And of course, actually, one of our good buddies, Austin Dahlgren and Christian Bialik, sent me in that clip. They've been working on a track and tagged our podcast on the little Riggs Rod track that they're doing for a Sim Monsters event coming soon. They asked if we would just put on the podcast. I'm like, sure, why not? And, of course, bringing us in, why not, go out with the bang for episode 18.
Wow. Well, I'm impressed. You did good. You did good. I honestly, I forgot. I told you had to come in with a cooler intro. I don't know that 1978 DJ is exactly what I was thinking, but what the hell? It worked, man. Good job. All right. So onward and upward, I guess. I don't even know how to top that. I mean, I really think, shit, I feel like we ought to just turn it off now. I feel like I don't think I can do any better.
No.
Yeah. I feel like now we ought to be playing and She's a Brick House or something next. Spinning and grinning the CDs. We got Brick House up next. Oh, all right. So welcome everybody to the Sunday night dinner table. Got a cool show coming up here, but first let's talk about some shows real quick that happened over the weekend. We had Myrtle Beach out in South Carolina. I think that's where it is, or the North Carolina. Hell, I don't know. It's Myrtle Beach, and they had a really good show out there. They had huge crowds. Steve Sims won the overall for Saturday night, and I believe Brian Wright and Stone Crusher won the overall for today. Right. Then up in Erie, Pennsylvania, they had All-Star, and I hear Too Tall and Wrecking Machine. Little Dave Olfert went in there and just dominated and destroyed. Did really well. And then up in, what was it, Forsyth, Montana, I believe. The checker flag was up the weekend. Yep. And I actually talked to Tyler Groff earlier, so they had a really good show. Things went well. So next week, I only know of one show happening in the country. And lo and behold, I get to go back to work. 2 Extreme Racings, Ada, Oklahoma. So pretty excited. I get to go announce that show. So I get to not get dirty. Finally. Okay. Yeah, not really. I'll still be working on damn trucks, I'm sure. But you have any other? I don't know of any other shows next weekend. Do you?
Not that I'm exactly aware of. Now they're going around everywhere. I have to check my phone, but I was looking on social media myself for all those events. There's actually some drone footage for Myrtle Beach and the event that I believe Too Tall and Dawson and everybody else from Team Throttle Monster was at. There was some awesome footage out there. But other than that, yeah, it was great shows this weekend. Can't wait for Ada and any other ones we have coming next weekend that we have yet to find out about.
Well, like I said, anybody knows of shows, please hit us up, either message us or put it in our comments, whatever, let us know. We're trying to pimp them all at this point. We want to get people out seeing trucks live, but if there's no other shows around the country, everybody come to Oklahoma. I need the money. So, with that said, have our guest arrived, Mr. Mason?
I believe so.
Well, let's bring on Mr. and Mrs. Jack Koberna.
The 460 Ford engine. That is a beast. Listen to the engine roar. There it is.
If anybody just watched me a minute ago, you see me flinching and moving and dodging all those bumps.
How are we tonight?
Way to end it.
Mr. and Mrs. Jack Koberna, Hall of Famer Jack Koberna. How are we, guys?
We're doing good. How you guys doing?
Good. Rocky, you talking?
Father's Day to everybody out there.
What's that?
I said Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, right back at you.
Well, I don't know if Mason is a father yet. It's early, if not.
Maybe he doesn't know he's the father.
Well, he hasn't told his parents about it yet. But well, I'm so happy to have my second dad on.
Yeah, you've been a good son. I really want to send my thoughts and prayers to your mother for taking care of you all this time and that other guy raising you, but it's all right.
Yeah, well, she's still waiting on a check, bud.
That was a good one. Always about the money.
Checks in the mail as soon as I get done the next show.
Great. Never gonna get it. So, what's quarantine been like for the Koberna clan down in Arizona?
New Mexico.
Or wherever the hell you're from. I don't know.
We're really quarantined if we're in Arizona.
I don't actually research my guests, okay? I just call you guys to keep you busy.
Know, it's been different, you know. We just keep doing day by day and whatever it takes to keep the bills paid. We're waiting for things to get busy and start again. Some of the stuff's starting to show up a little bit. You know, we're getting some, you know, leads of some shows, you know, see what happens if they're going to do them or not. You know, we canceled out a lot of shows when this started. So your truck's sitting in the trailer ready to go. We're just waiting for the go.
Right. Yeah. It seems like shows are starting to pop, but right about the time they start to pop, and other ones start canceling. So see a little light at the end of the tunnel, but it's far and distant. But we're going to get there eventually, I hope.
Oh, yeah. It's been hard. We've had hard times before in this business. You know, it comes around. You know, and, you know, the worst time we ever have at this business is election year, it seems like. And we're at another election year. So, you know, people don't want to advertise. It costs twice as much to advertise because all the candidates and all the people's on there taking up all the room. So it's kind of hard for a promoter to really do it right to get the people out there. So they don't do the shows.
Right. Well, so Jack, I'm going to try and test your memory here. I know at your age, it's hard to go that far back, but I mean, you started mud racing. Let's talk about the beginning. I mean, what started the Hall of Fame career?
Well, you know, I used to do a lot of four-wheeling out in the desert and you know, just having a lot of fun. Then I ran across a place here in Arizona that started to do mud bogs. I thought, well, that'd be kind of cool. So I had an old International Scout that I really started with, the first mud bog I ever had. We started mud bogging with it, and it just built up from there. We moved up into the Super Pro class with the tractor tires for National Mud Bog Association, and it just went on from there. We kind of did a lot of good shows with that company, and moved on and started, you know, doing the extra pulling cars apart on fire, and you know, back then it was more of driving over a car. So I'd dual up the tires on the Beast, and we'd drive over cars, and you know, that kind of got started with it.
Well, before we get too far into your career, we have a little segment on here. We have a young man, but everybody knows by the name of Christopher Allen, and Christopher Allen Fun Fact of the Week. So let's see what he has to say about Jack and Rocky Koberna.
Hi, Monster Truck fans. Christopher Allen, the Monster Truck Guru, has returned for episode number 8 of Monster Truck Fact of the Week. This volume is about Jack Koberna and his wife Rocky. Jack started doing mud racing in the mid-1980s until the fateful day where a promoter asked him to climb over cars. Jack's mud bog tackler turned car crusher was called simply the Beast. As car crushing gave way to racing, Jack built a lighter and faster Savage Beast. This was followed by the world's first and only two-wheel drive monster truck, Cyborg, which competed in the historic first ever U.S. Truck Fest at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in 1997. Currently, Jack performs around the Southwest in a modern version of the classic monster truck name from that same region, Tough Enough. In 2018, Jack was inducted into the International Monster Truck Hall of Fame, which you fans can visit in Auburn, Indiana. As for Rocky, she met Jack while she was doing office work and he was racing for the National Mud Bog Association, which was owned and promoted by Mike Brady of the original Black Knight monster truck. In the old school days, monster truck body choice was dominated by Ford Chevys and classic cars. But Beast and Savage Beast took the roads far less traveled by sporting bodies that resembled a 1964 International Travelall. Very few monster trucks ever built have had international bodies, making Beast and Savage Beast real diamonds in the rough. We sincerely hope you enjoy these videos, monster truck fans. Please check out Monster Truckin' with Jim and Chris on Facebook and Instagram for years of excellent monster truck show coverage from around the West. We hope you enjoy these videos. Please come back for Wednesday night happy hour, and remember, monster trucks forever.
That was great,
That was
Christopher.
pretty
Thank
cool.
you.
That was cool.
So, Rocky, he met you in the office. Do you think this guy was going to rescue you and take you off to a grand life? Is that what you were hoping for?
Oh, no.
It is a grand life. Didn't have to take her off to a grand life. This is a grand life.
Yeah. Whew, that worked out.
It's just one big vacation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We get to go to many places and see all kinds of different roads and back of stadiums.
And work.
Repair shops and
back down highways sometimes. In reverse.
What a vacation.
And work.
And work.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and Lord knows I never get tired of visiting all them parking lots.
You know what though, Cam? I really, really miss it. I really miss it, especially the Mexico part. You just get down there and everything is so different and so unfamiliar. And through all of us just kind of hanging together, we make a way where there is no way. I mean, grace of God also, but dang, you get to know people a whole lot better in a situation like that. And you get to make long lasting friendships that way. We have.
Well, and that's true. I mean, and a lot of guys have talked about that on here. Some of the best parts of what we do is not the shows necessarily. I mean, we all have fun doing the shows, but it's the after or during the week, we all get to hang out and people know we work our asses off a lot, but it's that hour, 2 hours, and even if it's only one evening a week where we all get to just kind of sit around and bullshit and have a drink and trade stupid stories. I mean, that's where the whole family aspect of our business truly comes in.
Very much so.
One big family.
Yeah, one big family, but
family and get some cousins we really don't want to have. But
there's always that one creepy uncle you hoping doesn't show up to the party.
Yeah, just the one.
So all right. So you got in. What's that?
I said it's okay, Mason. Poor thing, he's not used to it.
Yeah, well,
I'm just gonna say I'm looking right at him.
The creepy uncle.
One time, and he gave me the look. He was asking for it.
One time.
Just one time.
One time happened 3 times. So, all right, Jack. So let's get back to you. Enough about my charges. And so you got into the crushing a little bit. So what got you into the decided to go full scale monster truck guy?
Well, mud bogs were good and everything, but when they started driving over cars and it's like I can get paid for driving over a car. I mean, that was a great thing. Not have to race to make the money, but you got paid a certain price at that time. And then it just went on from there. I just got hooked on the sport and wanted to do so many different things and build so many different things for this sport. And it just grew. It just actually got out of control for a while. Just ideas of changing things and building things and trying to keep up with everybody. My work was cut out for me to do what I did, as far as keeping up. There wasn't a lot of trucks in Arizona when I started this. There wasn't, the go-to guy to say, oh, what did you do here? What did you do there? You had to go race your truck, see what other people was doing, and see if I could improve on it and make it work on my stuff. So it was a long battle to go.
Well, now you talk about that, and you talk about, trying to figure things out. But what people don't know about you is how many trucks you built. And I mean, you built one of Dennis Anderson's Gravediggers. So how did that lead up to where you're becoming a guy getting into this, trying to figure this out, and all of a sudden you're building trucks for other people? I mean, that's a pretty big honor when other people are coming to you saying, hey, build my truck for me.
Well, I've just been lucky enough to know how to build something and think outside the bubble, because there was no set plans on a monster truck. So try to figure things out. I've just been a lucky enough person to have a working background in mechanics, with my dad all the years building different dune buggies and vehicles and machinery and stuff that, it all come together. And I don't know, a lot of luck, I guess. I don't know. I don't consider myself the greatest builder in the world, but, I figure.
Well, obviously, I've seen your shit run, but.
I mean, it works. Everybody's stuff comes apart, if you abuse it enough. But I've had a good run. I've had a lot of good trucks. I built trucks for other people. I built ride trucks. I've got people come to me. So it's been. I'm just lucky, I guess. I can't say anything else. I'm just a lucky guy that people trust, and I hope they keep trusting me.
Well, it's something else about you. I mean, a lot of people always talk about Devin Jones with Barbarian being a one-man wrecking crew, and he is, and he does a great job. But you're kind of the original. I mean, I've never known you to really have a crew guy with you. You always do everything yourself. I mean, do you not want anybody else around you? I mean, I've met you. I don't.
They were supposed to stick around, I guess. I work them too damn hard. Yeah. I mean, I got to hurry up and get my stuff going so I can go across the street and help somebody else get their stuff going. Yeah. But yeah, I've had a lot of people work for me and stuff, and, they've lasted for a little while, and I guess there's always something better on the other side, or I chased them off, or I don't know, But yeah, I just get going on a project or get going on repairs. I know what I want to do, and I just go crazy, get out of my way, because I don't want to ask somebody to do something that I got to tell them what to do or think about if they did it right to my standards. And even if everybody knows what they're doing, but sometimes they just don't do it the same way I do. So it's a lot easier just to jump in there by myself and just do it.
That's why I just go sit down with Rocky while you're working on shit.
That's not true. You help me put a motor in.
That's true.
All right, so that's cool, because that's actually one of the stories I did when I told that, because that is one of my proudest moments, is changing a motor in a parking lot in your truck, and we did not have a piece of equipment. I mean, everybody else talks about doing an hour and a half of the lull. We did it by hand.
That's right. We put the motor in by hand. Didn't lift nothing to lift the motor up or nothing. We
no
took it out
electricity
and put it in, in a parking lot with, well, we did have a little pavement there, had a little.
We did have a ramp to slide it down to the ground.
Ramp and a tire slide to slide the motor in and out. And we got her in there, and off we went again.
Yeah.
We had time, and I didn't have to, thread about something not being bolted up tight or anything like that. I got to kind of help and watch. Somebody help me, and I appreciated your help. And it was a fun week for all the hassles that we go through down there in Mexico. That's one of the times that you always want to remember that your buddy that jumped over there and helped you. He jumped the wall, came over to my side, and helped me. And that means a lot to me, and I really appreciate you.
Well, like I said, it's honestly one of the coolest moments of my career. I mean, I love bragging about that. Like I said, everybody says that, change a motor with the lull, but and nobody else has come back and say, yeah, I've done that once. We changed the motor by hand once. Yes.
Do you remember how hot it was? Oh my Lord. We were in the enclosed area with hardly a breeze.
Yeah, we was in our locked up area.
Yeah.
Chained in, locked up, no place to go.
We did go to the beach that week, so we can't complain about it.
Yeah.
We did.
Went to the beach and buried you, and
yes, we did.
then the dogs dug you up, but
my wife's still pissed y'all dug me back up. But well, let's talk about the Hall of Fame a little bit. I mean, 2018, getting inducted into that with guys like Dennis and Dan Patrick and some. I mean, how much of an honor was that for you?
It was a good honor. I had at first, being nominated so many times, it was kind of a depressing time. It's like, oh, he's up for nomination again and again and again. It's like, man, but you know what? It all come together, And they have to choose people. They can't just put everybody that's been on television in there at the same time, because it's just not the right way to do things. You got to get some guys that don't drive anymore and some guys that still drive into the mix, because it just makes a better mix. But it was a great honor to be recognized for the things I've done and the time I've spent in this sport. And when I went up there, and once I walked in that building and seen what they're doing, and it was just the greatest thing in the world. I stand behind it 100% that they're on the right track to make this a wonderful, wonderful venue. And it's going to be ongoing. It's going to take a long time to get everybody's names on the list, but it's a great thing. I just can't say enough good about it. It just means it's right down. One of my greatest things about my career is being in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it was funny. We had Dan Patrick on a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about it, and he was saying how he tells everybody that's going in of, you kind of think it's not a big deal till you get there, and then you're up on that stage kind of accepting the award, and it's a whole nother feeling like nothing else.
It's true. It is. It's just you jump up there, and I didn't write no speech or anything like that. I just kind of go up there and say what I'm feeling and at the moment stuff, like I do with everything. I don't think about it for 20 weeks of what I'm going to build. I just walk out and build it. So I kind of walked up there and just built a speech on the way up, and it was just so cool to be recognized like that.
Well, now, Miss Rocky, I'm not going to sit here and leave you out. And I definitely guarantee a lot of people don't know you actually drove quite a bit.
I drove for a year and a half, and my favorite truck was the Leaf Spring Tough Enough. I just loved that truck. I loved it. And I spent the summer of 1999 driving that one, and I enjoyed that truck so very much. And then Jack built me a new truck, and we did not see eye to eye from the moment I sat in the seat the first time. And,
married couple not getting along. That's weird.
Yeah, it had the new truck blues for a little while, and I'd tell Jack, I'd say, I'm out there on the line, I'm bringing it up, and then I hit the gas, and nothing's happened. It's falling flat on his face. Oh, it is not. You're just not doing it right. And it's like, all right, you get in it. Well, he got in it and beat Bigfoot.
I caught her on fire.
Yeah, and he caught my truck on fire. So,
well, it got to be, she'd come off the cars or something, and the throttle would be at idle. I'm going, you're killing yourself. It's like having the brakes on. So I finally taped her foot on the gas pedal for a while. Now you can't lose the dang pedal. Put it to the floor and brace yourself with the gas pedal. You don't need brakes. Brakes are overrated. Just hang on and just brace yourself on the gas pedal. You'll do fine. So it was, she did it great. It was great. We did a lot of shows together, and she jumped in there. What a trooper, just from, okay, here's a truck, go out in the backyard and hit this car, 5 or 6 times till you get the feel of it, and then go home and complain about your neck hurting. Tell me how much you hated me. But that's that learning curve. You got to learn how the neck hurts before you get away from doing that. So Rocky did a great job. She kind of helped build the business. With the driving with the 2 trucks. It was a big jump to go to 2 trucks. Cyborg was doing stupid stuff at that time, still trying to figure out that truck and worry about Rocky and her truck. So, yeah, we had a lot of discussions about trucks and each other.
Well, that's what I always tell people. That what's that?
I said discussions. He called it.
Well, I always tell people, when you go to 2 trucks, you're tripling the work.
Yeah.
You're going from 1 to 2, it's triple the work. I mean, it's a lot to maintain too.
The money with 2 trucks. Don't you know that?
But
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you know, go to 3 trucks, you go, God, you know, I just need a bigger truck. That's all. All more parts.
Yeah, I just need more. I just need more stuff. I mean, that'll solve everything.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, another segment on here, our big thing is we like to do interaction with people watching, either ask you guys questions, comments, or just talk about how pretty your wife is. So, Mason, what do we got?
All right, we got quite a few questions right now. We actually have one from Daniel Cheech Agosh from Crush This. His question is, how long did it take for Jack to build his version of Gravedigger, and how did the connection with him and Dennis work?
You know, I flew to Kill Devil Hills the day after Thanksgiving. I flew home Christmas Eve. The truck, all the truck had left was put the body on top of it when I went home for Christmas. Then I flew back the day after Christmas and headed for Des Moines, Iowa for the first show with that truck in a blizzard snowstorm. That was 7 days of driving in 3 or 4 foot snow. But, you know, me and Dennis had a good relationship going into that. I used to do a lot of work helping him get his truck back together after he destroyed it at all the shows over there in the West Coast. And my truck, you know, I was supposed to go over to Japan to do some shows, and the Gulf War started. So USA wanted another truck built. Dennis didn't have the people to put a truck together. So he called me and said, hey, here's the deal. I need another truck built. It's got to be ready by the first of the year. He said, I don't have anybody else. I said, well, send me a plane ticket. You know, we've been friends ever since. We don't talk a lot, you know. Now and then we see each other. I just seen him the first of this year. It was great. We had a blast in Texas. We was up in Texas with him when he had his son there with the King Slim truck. We had a blast.
Teeny man.
You know, getting our stories straight about who did what and this and that, you know, but he's a great guy. You know, we had a blast. We have a great relationship, and it's just I had to go back to drive my own truck. You know, I ran 16 weeks with that digger truck. I think I lost 1 show with it, and it was just time for me to go back to be Jack Koberna and not Dennis.
He had a hat that said across the top, it had crazy hair, and it said, I'm not Dennis on the top, because people would chase him around going, you're Dennis, I need your autograph, sign my boob, or, you know, it was like that. It was.
Sorry, from behind, I thought it was him.
Yeah. Yeah.
My bad. And for the record, he did sign my boob.
Yep. I'm sorry that it hurt.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have to use a razor blade.
I wanted to blast. It's a lasting thing.
Yeah, it's there. You at least could have signed your own name. But I still don't know who the hell Michelle is.
Yeah. You know, that was a weird thing coming into this business. Jack and I were just getting our relationship kind of together the year that he was racing digger. So I went on the road with him for 3 weeks. And it took me about, well, probably 2 shows, like a Friday, Saturday, to figure out that I was probably never going to see the guy after a show because he knew his name, and that he was representing Dennis on a whole level that I just hadn't gotten up until that point. And I look back at those days, and he had a tremendous amount of love and patience with those fans, as he did with his own truck. But when you're a digger guy, even from the start, it was just such a crazy phenomenon. And I used to just marvel at how wonderful he was at the job itself, not just driving, but hanging out with people. That meant a lot to me it's like I see that in the guy, and it's like, oh, I think I might have a keeper.
That hooked her right there. She was hook, line, and sinker. I had her hooked.
So what we're saying is you portraying the role of another guy is what locked her in. Good job.
Yeah.
No, I knew him before that, though, Cam. See, here's the story. Here's the story. I was working for the National Mud Bog Association. He was racing 2 vehicles for them. He had his mud racer, a paddle tire thing that went really fast, and then the Beast.
Beast, yeah. Beast.
And so he was doing both of them, and motor went out in one, so he changed motors at intermission. He took the motor out of the Beast and put it in the
rail, the Blue Thunder
the
rail.
Yeah. And so I just thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. It's like, I like this. This guy is cool. So then I started, getting to know him a little bit. And
then it started. Then I had to convince her again because she found out who I was.
Yeah, it just. But I just thought that was really cool. Not everybody can do that.
Nobody told her the truth yet, so don't say anything.
Yeah, don't straighten me out now.
The one day you quit giving her pills and she comes to her senses.
Yeah. Take the blue pill today.
Holy shit! What have I been doing for 20-something years? What else you got, Mason?
Talking back about Gravedigger here, we actually have a question from Levi Shones asking, what was it like driving a Gravedigger, and was there any mantle you had to carry?
Guy drove 14 other trucks. We're just going to talk about Gravedigger all damn night.
Gravedigger. It was cool, because at that time, everything was new. I left the Beast that had a airbag suspension, and it rode like a Cadillac. Then I got this crazy green truck that had leaf springs on it that wanted to bounce, and a back motor,
a bad seat,
and a plastic seat in it, Well, I think we scraped, the bottom of everything to put that truck together because money just wasn't there at that time, trying to build a team up like he was, because he had his old truck running, his truck, new truck, and then this truck we built. So it was a lot of work. It was a lot of stress keeping up the Gravedigger thing. We brought out the Grim Reaper, did a lot of cool stuff with it. Had the guy walk out with the sickle and the smoke and stuff. Just we always tried to make a show out of it. To build the Gravedigger thing, because that's what I was there for, was to build up Dennis's truck and to bring on that team. And it was great. I really wouldn't trade it. It was a great year of my life. My truck was going nowhere because every show I had no shows, because I was, like I said, I was supposed to go to Japan and do a bunch of shows. And when the Gulf War started, they all got canceled. So I was just trying to figure out, what am I going to do now? And I was very lucky to get that phone call.
Well, I got to say, good job, Levi. That was a different question, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This kid had one question, they ask, and I threatened to punch him if he asked it again. So I'm so proud he asked a new question. I just want to give him props. What else you got, Mason?
There's a few questions actually asking about the Cyborg monster truck. So here's one from Mackenzie Ray asking, talk about the inspiration behind the two-wheel drive Cyborg.
I wanted something. It's one of those things, you want to try to do something. Every dirt and mud sport out there has two classes of trucks. And, I really thought maybe, the monster truck sport would grow enough on the outdoor events that a two-wheel drive class and a four-wheel drive class would work. And, at first everybody, this thing will never work. And, it had a lot of problems until I finally figured out how to make things stay underneath it, because it was just a disaster at first. I kind of wondered why I did it, but it was a cool concept and it worked great. Did anything anybody else's truck ever did. The first show I went with it to El Paso for what is Monster Jam now. I don't know if it was
God, it's been a while. Whatever it was in 96, 97.
Before the whole bunch of them, before they sold out 3 times. But I ended up second place racing and second place in freestyle. Tom got me that night. That's the first time I ran for the company, and it went on from there. So basically, it started out to prove that a second class would work. That so we can make this sport grow. But they pretty well said a monster truck's a monster truck, and that's the way it is. but the Cyborg truck proved itself many, many times to go up, over, jump high, whatever it took to do it. It's just a nut behind the wheel that makes it go.
Well, and the coolest thing I ever saw, I actually saw you at a show years ago before I got into this, and we were at a racetrack, and you pulled up to the wall and sat there and did a smoky burnout with it. And nobody else could do that. That was pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, I got in trouble for that one too.
Yeah,
That was like they thought this crazy guy was trying to climb the wall and destroy the place and run over the crowd, and ran out and thought I put holes in the racetrack, and it was just one of those crazy nights. Your adrenaline was going, and it's like, let's end the show good. Let's just go up there and say thank you to the crowd and do a smoky burnout with it. It's kind of hard to do that with a four-wheel drive truck, but I just smoked them good that night.
Wow, I didn't realize all that was involved. Wow, now I feel like I was a part of something.
Yeah, you were.
You were making history, Cam.
You're probably working on something.
That was in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was at that show watching just what there. That was back in the days when I was sitting there going, God, it'd be so cool to work on them trucks, and I'd love to be down there. And now I'm sitting down there going, God, I wish I was sitting up there drinking.
Yeah, you only know that you could have stayed watching cartoons in your pajamas, but you gotta quit.
Yeah. What else you got, Mason?
Speaking on about the different classes of monster trucks back then, we actually have a question from Frank Patelli saying, we know you've had your two-wheel drive truck and was hoping to have a promoter start a two-wheel drive class, but it never happened. Were you disappointed about that?
Yeah, I kind of was, because I really thought it would be kind of cool to, guys that just, struggling and this and that. It ain't no cheaper to have a two-wheel drive truck than a four-wheel drive truck. It's actually, everybody thought, oh, the truck's, lighter on the front end. No, it's not. It takes twice as much metal to stay underneath there, because you're just beating it into a wall. And it was kind of disappointing that, they decided, no, this ain't going to happen. A monster truck is a monster truck. And, but it'd been cool, to have a two-wheel drive class, and at the end of the thing, a two-wheel drive champion and the four-wheel drive champion going at it, to have the great battle off, But yeah, it kind of sucked. I put a lot of time and thought about that when I was building it, and I really thought that it would take off. But promoters kind of tell you what's going to happen and what's not going to happen, because they're the ones booking you.
That would have been kind of badass.
Well, I
That would
still
be cool.
believe it's a situation that is still possible. I think there will come a day when people have run out of options, and it's like all of a sudden this will be a grand idea, and it will be their idea whenever that time comes. I mean,
well, there's two-wheel drive trucks out there, but it's usually at the end of the race when the front end was broke, But then they say, "Oh, I was in two-wheel drive, and I did this and I did that." It's like, yeah, well, that's good. You broke your four-wheel drive. You're right. You're a two-wheel drive.
Well, I can tell you, we did a show with Dawn one time, and we broke the front yoke on her transfer case, and she did it during racing. We couldn't get it back, so me and Jim pulled the front drive shaft, and I told her, I said, go out there, just carry a little more momentum. You won't even notice a difference. She said, okay. Dawn never talks to me on the headset. She never says a word to me, especially, unless she really needs something. But other than that, it's normally she does her run. She goes and parks. I ask her if she's okay, and that's all we say. Not that day. She got done with her freestyle. She said to wave to the fans, and the first thing we hear, oh, I wouldn't notice. I noticed. That sucked. I'm never doing this again. And,
you really had, when the front end's broke on the truck, you can't just, that was the wrong thing, just go for it, because basically you have to hit the cars, but you got to bounce the front. You got to hit with the front end and let it bounce a second, and then you got to nail it. So it's a lot of timing. And I didn't realize that as much till when I went back to a four-wheel drive truck. And I was like a rookie, because when I come out of the sky or coming out, I was just blowing out the front shocks, 4 link bars, because it's like having the brakes on, because I was waiting for the rear of the truck to set so I can gas it again. So I had to learn how to drive again when I decided to quit driving Cyborg for a while. it was like, this is crazy. I don't even know how to drive a big truck anymore.
There was a learning curve.
I still don't know how to drive a truck. I just point and go. So,
No, I wasn't going to point out that apparently you're still working on it.
I'm still working on the driver part, point and hope, you kind of point and hope it goes where you want it, Oh, well, if there's a loader to turn you back over so you can go again, it's whatever it takes for the fans. That's the motto, I guess.
It's all about the fans.
We have a question from Christopher here that even surprised me, and he's saying, Jack, there are pictures of you and the Beast racing in the Tokyo Dome. What are some other great international stories you have?
Tokyo was cool because I wasn't scheduled to go over there, and all of a sudden they called up. Somebody couldn't make it, so they needed an alternate truck. And then, and I have to thank Mike Welch. He threw my name in the bag, and they decided to go ahead and take me over there. It's like, well, he'll be okay. He can get through the course and get through this and get through that, And we went over there. It was so funny because here all us, 6-foot guys. Lurch was there with Bigfoot and Mike and brother Travis, and there was just a bunch of us. We're all 6 foot, so every place we went in town, they kept pointing at us and saying "wrestlers, wrestlers." They thought the WWF was in town because all these big guys wandering around that looked lost. So, but it was great. I ended up winning the event over there, brought the trophy home. And it just was one of those great things that I'll never forget. I've been in, Canada, and I've been in Mexico, and I've been in Hawaii now. So those are the 3, out of the states that I've been. So, but that was one of the first great things of being recognized to go somewhere. You just don't get those calls every day and come back safe.
What else you got?
Gotcha. Oh, lost you there.
We're going to head on to this next question here about the olden days. We should have a thing from Tim Mente saying, point and hope my ass.
You just hope. There's no point. Yeah, point. What you do? You point at the cars and hope you land on the other side. It's like you got to line up straight. I never lined up straight in my life. I don't think I've ever hit a car straight. It's just, why even try? It doesn't work. You point and hang on, point and hope that you get to the other side of the car and you land on your tires and keep going. So that's just the way it is.
The Jack Koberna School of Driving. Get in, good luck.
Yeah, anytime, just gas it. Like I said, brakes are optional. They're overrated.
Brakes is fear.
Yeah, you don't need steering. I've proved that many times, front and rear steering being broke. Well, you just kind of gas it till it aims at something and gas it harder.
Yeah, it'll stop eventually when it's on its roof.
Yeah, eventually you'll get there. Just a matter of time.
Another old school question here from Tommy Evans saying, what is your favorite memory of the Black Knight monster truck from the old school days?
My favorite memory.
That's a really good question.
That's a good question. When I first started racing with Mike Brady, the truck was kind of just a tin truck. It had, fake grill and fake this and fake that. The fenders were all cut out, and he was really trying to promote a classy monster truck. And I convinced him, let me rebuild this truck. So I put all, the original grill. I put wheel wells back in it. We made the body tilt and all the chrome floorboards, and I redone all the suspension so it would give, because it was just nothing but a solid rock. And I think that was about the greatest thing, was the startup of working on a monster truck, because at that time I was just starting to go over cars. I still had the dual tractor tires, and we were climbing over cars, and after I got his truck done, we took it to Kingman, Arizona, and that was the first time I ever put Terra tires on the Beast. And it's like, we hit the cars, I'm going, oh man, this is cool. These tires give. Them tractor tires never gave. And I actually had to borrow a set of tires that time, so I borrowed a set of tires that was on Larry Ed's Fanatic truck, because we destroyed it a couple weeks before that in Gallup. For some reason, I was driving it, but it got destroyed. So he was rebuilding. So I used his tires, my very first Terra tires on the Beast, and I was really hooked for Terra tires then, because then I got me another set. But that was probably the best memory is the startup of building a monster truck, for somebody, rebuilding it, making it cool, and just spent a lot of time on it.
Well, the thing about Brady at the time is the man was absolutely brilliant. He was a little bit of a savant in some ways. He'd focus on one thing, and then it would come to life, and then he'd just kind of drop the ball until the next idea came that he could totally get good at and be all involved in that one thing. And if that one thing failed, it was crushing to him. It was like one event to the next. He tried to do 2 events a month for the time that I was working for him. It didn't happen every month, but that was what he was trying to do. And he had some really good ideas in the sport, really good ideas, things that we still use today. And, Mike had it all. He really did, but he just couldn't run a business and drive a monster truck. Oh my God, there's a piece of news. Who can, really? Yeah,
it was a lot of learning. I learned a lot working with him. We took the truck to Indianapolis, to the Indiana, off-road the Jamboree that one year. And we were supposed to go and run it through the mud. But they always, it's the world's fastest monster truck through the mud and this and that, Everett was there with his truck, and Bigfoot was there with the 9-foot tires going through the mud. And, they literally wouldn't let us run through the mud while they were in the arena. So it was like they had, honest to God, they had armed guards there saying, you can't go, you start the truck up, you're going to jail. So they got done playing in the mud and got stuck and got pulled out. And then the armed guards figured, well, that's it. That's over. So we jumped in there, fired up, ran to the pit before everybody left, run to one end, put it reverse and backed up the other end and went back to our spot. And there wasn't a lot of unhappy people about it, but we proved we were there. And so, the truck would run through the mud. It had the smaller Terra tires on it. The skinnier tires had some good cleats on it and stuff. It was a pretty light truck, but those are probably the best memories of ever with that truck.
Was Jamboree.
Well, I just got to say, Rocky, the class you bring to this show with words like savant. Everybody else is on here going, well, big truck had big tires, we jumped it, and Rocky's over here. Well, he was just savant. So I just want to thank you for throwing that out there. I appreciate you classing the show up.
About time something happened.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Cam.
Yeah.
Stick around.
Another question.
She's got more words.
Let's
test a Rocky thesaurus right
now. What's that?
Let's test a Rocky thesaurus. Come up with a good question.
Question for both of them, because a few people have been asking about this one. It's any Ron Bachman or any Lurch stories?
When we were in Tokyo, it was me and Lurch. We spent a lot of time together, and it was so funny because we'd say, "Hey, let's go get something to eat." And he's always hungry, So we'd leave the venue because they'd have a lot of food there, but you really didn't know what it was. It's like, what is this stuff? He's, I don't know. Let's just go to McDonald's. So we'd walk across the street and go to McDonald's. And we'd go in there, and they'd just see staring at him. Here comes this monster in there, going to take over the place, and he'd try to tell him what we wanted and stuff, and they'd probably go, "Well, let's just get naked and dance in the kitchen then." So point at the pictures, and we'd probably get something to eat. So it was always fun to be around Ron. The guy was a total person of information. He was one of the nicest guys you ever wanted to be around. He was just a great guy. He's very well missed in this sport. I never got to spend as much time as I'd like to with him, but every time I seen him, I knew I'd seen a friend.
Bet he never said savant.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got a couple more, Mason, before we wrap this up with the young couple?
I don't know. Let me come up with another word for you, Cam.
Write it on your hands. You know.
We have one from Tim Mente asking, what's your best 5-minute story?
That's it. 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes. That's Mexico. 2 hours is what that is. 5-minute story. I have no idea what my best 5-minute story would be. I'd ramble on if I tried to make it a 5-minute story.
So many. There's so many. It's like
the problem is every story in Mexico is 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Well, an hour and a half to 2 hours, you're still standing
or
there
maybe the next day
waiting for 5 minutes. So, I mean, that's what that. I know exactly what he's talking about. Your 5-minute story. It's
yeah.
Well,
I mean, how many times did we spend at least an entire day just sitting at the border waiting to get in or out?
Oh, getting bitten by ants. That's what.
Yeah.
I mean, playing quarters at the border in Laredo, waiting for you guys to come through X-rays. And we're sitting out there playing quarters, just trying to make time go by because there ain't a damn bench or a tree within 3 miles of the freaking place.
You poor things.
You
guys got to go outside. You guys got to be in America. Well, we got stuck in Mexico with people that we couldn't understand, pointing fingers and telling us to go get X-rayed and go get this and go get that. And I know it was, just 5 minutes across the border, but I wouldn't want to walk from the river across the border and stand next to the road with trucks going by either. So
I don't know. I think we definitely earned our scout badge on those parts of the trips is the border crossing, because it's like when you think of, I mean, I'm very proud that I was born a Texan. I'm very proud of that. But where they really shot themselves in the foot, as far as I'm concerned, and I think, Cam, you might agree with me, is here we are at Laredo. We are passengers. We're made to unload out of the cab. There can't be anybody but the driver and a dog for us. At whatever point they tell you to get out, you get out.
120 degrees.
Yeah, it's 100, easy 110. You're carrying a chair. You're carrying water and a coat because you're going to be there long enough for it to get cold. So that means when it hits 80 degrees, you're going to be freezing. And and you sit and you wait, and it might be 3 hours. It might be 6 hours. You don't know. And as Cam said, there is no bench, or maybe it was Jack. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it was Cam. There was no bench. There's no water. There's not any kind of a convenience store for like a couple miles. And it's like the great state of Texas. As much money as they spend on certain things, I would really like to see some kind of facilities there, even if it was nothing but, a vending machine and
you're asking too much now. That's the border.
No, it's the great state of Texas, Jack.
No, there's no great state of Texas when it comes to the border. The border's the border. One side's the border and the other side's the border. It's like you're on
the
your
worst part about it was you sat there and you just prayed to God that whatever rig you were with was not the last one in line, as you see everybody else drive away. And drive away.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Last one out. That definitely.
Grab the flag.
Grab the flag till you're the last one out,
Yeah.
It just was crazy to go over there and go through these places and, going through that border, we'd have to get in that line, and put bumper to bumper because you couldn't let anybody squeeze in front of you, because once you let somebody squeeze in front of you, you were stuck for another hour. So it's always like, hang on, people, just, my old truck, I didn't care if I run over a bumper or what. They I'm squeezing through. Just stay behind me and go. Rod was always good. Rod would, he'd always jump in there and get on the back, and we'd all line up and race to the open door. It's like a giant race between trucks.
Yeah, Ronnie Sturgis was the worst though. That guy, oh my God, could he just like squeeze into the postage stamp? And God help you to be behind him.
Yeah, except for when you're riding with him one day and you get up to the border and you get up to the little gate where you got to hand your paperwork, and I forgot my paperwork. So then we got to back up, and all of a sudden I'm looking at everybody else heading into the old beautiful U.S. and I'm looking at Ronnie going, 10 more minutes, I'm swimming for it. You're on your own, bud.
Yeah, that's a 5-minute story there.
That's a 5-minute story for sure.
Yeah, them border crossings, once we got down there, it was cool. It was neat to go down there because it didn't matter who won, who lost. He was out there to have fun and and build a sport down there where we could keep going down there and making money. But things go on, things don't go on. So here we are.
It was definitely fun. All right, Mason,
I was just going to mention, looking at time, that actually was just about a 5-minute story. So, yeah.
Oh, just a 5-minute story. I'll ramble on forever, How much time you guys got? I like talking about myself. I'll throw in a name now and then, but, if I could talk about myself, well, heck, let's start this over again. What is this thing called? Podcast what? Truck podcast. Stay home. Get your shit together.
Monster
Cast. Stay at home. Get your shit together. What was that?
No, that was the game show. Yeah, that was the goddamn. I gotta remember the name. Monster Cast. Filter play. Stay at home. Social distance trivia world championship.
We could not say that.
I said. That's what I said, didn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty much what you said.
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right, Mason, you got one more.
Yep, we got one more. Want to end it kind of on a high note right here. Scrolling back up through here, we have one from Abraham Michael asking, who is Jack's favorite competitor to line up against?
Sterling.
My son Sterling, when he drove tough enough after Rocky quit driving it, I have to say it was never had so much fun in my life racing against my son. He was, it was an ongoing battle of this and that, and he'd always tell me how the old guy ain't got a chance and this and that. He won some, I won some, but it was a great. So he was probably it. He drove for about a year, I guess.
It was longer than that for all of us.
Maybe it was 5 years.
It was 5 minutes.
It just seemed like 5 minutes. It was over in 5 minutes. But we had a lot of fun together. I wouldn't trade it for the world. We have a lot of arguments together. He'd get mad at me, I'd get mad at him. And we get up on the racetrack, and it was whoever wins. There was no prize for it except for the fact that I could snicker at him when he screwed up, and I got him, and he had the 4-wheel drive truck, and he had the 2-wheel drive truck, and we had a lot of fun together. And I missed racing with him. He's done it one more time, went to Colorado with me and raced up in Colorado one summer for me. And I know he missed it, but he's got a family and kids, and he's got a good job. Why you want to go on the road and be broke?
And on that note,
yeah, puts me a high note.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
thank you very much, y'all.
1 second, actually just got a text from Rick Swanson, and he's telling me not to ignore him. And I was not ignoring you, Rick, as you're probably listening right now, going down the road.
Swanson.
I didn't forget about you. I was just scrolling through the last few questions here, but he wanted to make sure that his question was answered, and he was making sure to ask you if you want to go back to Hawaii.
Oh, heck yeah.
Rick Swanson's question, so I want to thank you guys for being on.
What are you jabbering about? Did I shut you off in the middle of a comment?
Oh, yeah, because it was just Rick Swanson. Nobody cares about what he had to say.
Yeah, it's Rick Swanson. It's Rick Swanson now. Don't be rude.
He's not even Rick Swanson anymore. He's Eric's dad, okay? Nobody even knows who.
No, he was Rick Swanson in Hawaii. He drove. He did a great job. We had a lot of fun together. We had, he was up there for 2 weeks. I was up there for 3 or so. And I'd go back in a heartbeat. We'd go back and do it again. it was just a blast. It was just a fun time to be over there. And he was Rick Swanson that week. He wasn't Eric's dad.
That's right. Kid wasn't anywhere within several thousand
He
miles.
talked about him all the time, but he wasn't his dad.
I was gonna say it had to kill him. He didn't know.
It did. Well, he'd get interviewed. It's just 2 trucks out on the field, and the announcer comes up and says, "So, Rick, well, my son Eric is not here, but we sure do love him."
I didn't think the umbilical cord would stretch that far.
It did. It did. Yeah,
Rick,
it was a blast to be.
I don't know. He might have put him in a suitcase and forgot to let him out. I think he was in a suitcase at the motel or something, just in case they needed him. Yeah,
Daddy's not leaving you
himself in the suitcase.
Yeah, Daddy's not going to leave you far behind.
No
way.
That's cool. They got a great relationship, racing and stuff, and
they do.
Fun to be around. They really are.
They are. We had them on a couple of years ago. It was great.
You got to have somebody to make fun of, or I'd have to make fun of you if I couldn't make fun of Rick Swanson.
Yeah, you don't got nothing on me. I'm too perfect.
Well, I see what you're saying.
Oh, you're such a brat.
Hey, and speaking of Mexico, I want to say before I end this, when we were in the ocean,
go ahead, talk about it.
When we were in the ocean,
I
am one of the few people that I put Jack Koberna on his ass.
Yeah, you dumped me off my penguin, whatever the hell it was.
I did.
My floaty. I'm out there minding my own business on my shark, and some blob come over and pushed me over. That's why you got buried. I should have left you buried in the sand. But yes,
you should. Because then you wouldn't have got your ass.
I knew that story was going to come up. I knew you'd have to strut around and poke out your chest and strut.
Mason,
how many people
for having us?
Hey,
I'm going to get a word in edge.
Was Mason there? I didn't know.
No. Mason was still in grade school when we were in Mexico doing that.
Oh, I didn't think he was on the show. Was he there? Oh, that's that little voice. You need to speak up, dude. You got to get in there, jump in there,
and yell at these old monster truck guys.
No, I just leave him in his corner.
I'll speak up when I need to.
Okay.
I'm just having a good time laughing right now at all these stories, honestly.
Well, thank you all for inviting us.
Thanks for making me spend my monster truck Father's Day on the website here. I really appreciate you guys, asking us to do this.
I really appreciate you guys being on. You guys are two, honestly,
I'll be looking in the mail for the check. So
yeah, if you can get that in, I'd appreciate it. My mom would love it.
Well,
but
we'll get that kickback out to you, Cam.
Yeah. Well, thank the guy that raised you for me, because I don't think I could have done it.
He did a good job, Cam.
I mean, you're easier than your brother was, so
Yeah, that's true.
I like you better, so yeah.
Oh.
So you turned out much better, yeah.
I know.
On that note, I'm out of here, y'all.
And I appreciate you guys coming on. You guys are honestly two of my favorite people in this business, and so I can't wait to hopefully see you guys soon. So thank you very much.
Everybody who has questions, appreciate it.
All right. Well, we will see you guys down the road.
All right.
Down the road.
Happy motoring.
Well.
All right. So I believe you have a little sponsor talk, Mr. 96.7 DJ guy.
Oh yeah, of course. Hang on, let me get my glasses right here. What's that?
You have to do this in the DJ voice.
Okay, hang on. Let me just put my glasses on. Make sure I'm all set up here. Welcome back to MonsterCast 67.4. We're now thanking our sponsors, Florida's Hot Sauce Slingers. For hot sauce, we'd like to thank you guys once again for sponsoring us since the beginning of this podcast. They have the best hot sauce in Florida, mixing the Southwest and the Southeast spices and sauces. Go ahead and follow them on Facebook and on Instagram and tell them that MonsterCast sent you. And of course, you cannot forget Monster Truckinator TV, the place to go on for all things new and old monster truck related. Like to thank them again for all the stuff they've been doing for us in and out lately. and especially the Father's Day giveaway that we're actually going to get on right about now.
And announce our winner.
Yep. Hang on. Let me make sure I got this little spin the wheel right here with a few of our people that were able to submit in here, and let's see who wins. That's loud.
Excuse me.
Well, our winner is John Guts. I'd like to thank you for submitting your comment in and joining our little giveaway here. Once this podcast is over, I'll be sure to ask for your info, social security number, any special numbers or anything we can use to make sure that your package can get to you safely and on time. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody else for joining us and watching us on the Monster Cast. I'd like to thank, again, our sponsors. And if you missed us on Facebook Live, you can check us out on YouTube, which is just YouTube. Just look up Monster Cast. We are now also on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and like 10 other things I'm going to be putting throughout the week here. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. And any closing words, Cam?
Yeah, I got a couple things to say. So first off, I want to say join us Wednesday for Hump Day Happy Hour. We will have Captain Curse driver Alex Blackwell. So I'm pretty excited about that one. And if I can get serious for a second, and not to bring things down, but today is Father's Day. And so happy Father's Day to everybody out there. This is my first one without my dad. And I just want to say that I know my mom's watching. My brother usually watches. So I miss my dad very much, but I love you guys. And, we've all gotten through this together. Dad's in a better place. So once again, happy Father's Day to everybody. And, so sorry not to get sad there for a second, but it's okay. We're all good. So, all right. Well, we will see you guys Wednesday, and thank you guys for watching.